Welcome back to Rural Marketing class. Today we are going to discuss about one new topic, an important topic also, that is rural marketing research. Research in any field is very essential because the research gives the useful information which is helpful for planning or executing the future tasks. So in the same way, research is also necessary in marketing also, and it is very essential in marketing especially because majorly the marketing is especially for planning the future or formulating the strategies or tactics for the future sales or future growth of the organization. For that, it is of course important to know what is happening in the market. For that, the research is very necessary. So let us first try to understand what is research and what is market research. The market research is a formalized way of getting information to be used in making marketing decisions. Actually, the research is a formalized way of getting some information, and if we are using it to take any marketing decision, we are calling it as market research or marketing research. So, the AMA, the American Marketing Association, is defining the marketing research as the systematic gathering, recording, and analyzing of data about the problems related to marketing of goods and services. So, it is the systematic way. In this systematic way, what we are doing is we are gathering the information, we are recording it, and analyzing this data to make it as information, and by using this information we are trying to solve the predetermined problems, right? The problems which are predetermined are related to the marketing of goods or services. That is why we are calling it as marketing research, and the research is majorly about solving the existing problems. Now we are seeing like there is a problem, that is coronavirus, right? So what do we need is medicine for that. So what the scientists are doing? Research. They are doing the research on the virus, like how to kill the virus. So when there is a problem, we have to find the solution. What we can use is the research, right? So to solve the marketing problems, we have to gather the data, we have to record the data, we have to analyze the data in a systematic way. That is what we are calling it as marketing research. So marketing research, which also includes the marketing survey or marketing analysis, sometimes it is also called as. So whatever this factor as will be seen is used for virtually all other marketing mix factors. It is not only we are not only using only for any single marketing mix tool. We are using it for almost all marketing mix tools. Like for example, we are using it for betterment of our product, right? Whatever the customer is expecting, we have to satisfy the expectations of the customer. So that is why what we are trying to do is we are all the time trying for betterment of the product. And also we may do the research for brands, right? Maybe how the brand image in the market, what we can do for betterment of the brand image, right? And similarly we can do the research for branding. Similarly we can do the research for also trademarks, like whether our logo is successful or not, whether our tagline, whatever we have mentioned, is successful or not, right? For that also we can do the research, marketing research. Or maybe sometimes the price, whatever the fixed price is appropriate or whether do we need to change the price also. Sometimes what we have to do is research, or sometimes the placement availability of the product, is it convenient to the customers or not. Sometimes about promotions, the promotional tasks whatever we are doing are successful or not, how can we know. And we are advertising, for example, the advertisement is successful or not, whether we are reaching to the customers or not. For that also we need to do the research. And also in the organizational culture, like about the organization culture, what do the customers or the employees in the organization, what do they feel. For that also we can do the marketing research, right. The basic characteristics of rural marketing research is, the research is heterogeneous, because the people in the rural areas are heterogeneous. They are not similar. There are a lot of differences between the population, right? In terms of languages, in terms of cultures, and we can see a lot of differences. That is why the market research will also be heterogeneous, right? So, starting with the product, marketing research can be conducted to get information or trends in the following areas, right. The whatever we are going to discuss in that areas, this market research can be done, as we have also discussed. So some examples we are taking here for what actually we can do the research, right. Example number one is there a demand for the product? There is the demand or no? To know that, we have to do the research. If there is the demand, in which market segment we have demand, in which market segment we do not have the demand, and what is the level of demand in that market. Similarly, for many things we can do the research. What are the objectives of marketing research? It is very important to define what are the objectives of marketing research, right. So the main objectives of marketing research are demand projection. We are going to project, like we are going to estimate how much demand will be there. Maybe sometimes the objective is competitive activities, what we have to do to compete with the competitors. Sometimes it is product differentiation. Sometimes what are the barriers in the market, to know that also sometimes we do the research. And sometimes the objective is competitive market share, how it is for our organization. So sometimes it is about the brand positions, to know about the brand positions. Sometimes it is about to know the competitive prices, right? Sometimes what is the relationship of the competitive prices with brand equity, and sometimes what is the strength of our advertising, or maybe sometimes the promotional strategies. So usually these might be the objectives of marketing research. The next stage of marketing research objectives are, that means whatever we have discussed are usual the general objectives. Sometimes beer that also there will be the objectives, like the product benefits the customers are seeking, is it really benefiting the customers, that what they are expecting from our product. The product usage with the different customer groups, how they are using it, light or heavy usage, right? Right. Top of the mind recall, how much do they able to recall our product or brand, or maybe the logo, trademarks, whatever. And what is the relationship between price and quality perception of customers. In perception of customers, what do they feel about this price and quality relationship. Similarly, about purchase decision procedures, and sometimes the reasons for brand preferences, why they are particularly preferring a brand. In the last class we have discussed about that, right? What are the factors that are affecting this consumer buying behavior. So for that also, what do we need is marketing research. So This might be the marketing research objectives also. When we have discussed about objectives, but it is also important to discuss about limitations. There are some limitations while doing this marketing research, especially in rural areas also. So, what are the limitations of marketing research in rural areas? First limitation is low literacy levels. We may not go with whatever farm which we can do in the urban areas, because mostly what we can say is the literacy levels are less when we compare to urban areas. The usage of internet in terms of gmails etc is low, so it is not easy for the researcher to do the marketing research. And poor media exposure also, all the social media forms they may not use, so that is the limitation. And awareness about the product or brand is also less. And local language communication is a little bit difficult. When we are doing in urban areas, we may use one common language, that is English. But when it comes to rural areas, we have to use the local language, right? In India there are more than 20 official languages, so it's very difficult to communicate with the local language with all the respondents. And scattered population is one more limitation. The people are not in a small geographical space, they are actually plotted in a different scattered areas. And roads are also not accessible to all the villages. And there is some difficulty in interacting with women respondents also, because they are still in the rural areas, it is not socially that much developed as urban areas, right? And interview timing will be difficult because the people in the rural areas will be busy with their agricultural works from very early morning to very late evening, so it is very difficult to reach them at their convenient time. And revalidation of data is also will be difficult, because we may not get the right information that what we are expecting from them. And before actually starting this research and while doing the research, what are the key decisions that any researcher should take, right? Should they should consider these factors. Number one, very important thing is the first phase of research, that is defining the problem, the research problem. For what actually we are doing the problem? Right problem leads to right solution. Wrong problem leads to wrong solution. So this is the important decision. First, for what actually we are going to do the research, find out that, then we'll go for the next step, that is determine the budget. Because after starting the research and we'll go to the middle of the research, and we'll say like the budget is not affordable, so I'll give up this research, is not good. So before starting the research, determine what is the budget that is going to be incurred by this research. And next is to decide the research design. Depending on the type of problem, we have to decide the research design. Maybe it is exploratory design, maybe it is descriptive design, maybe it is causal design, and whether it is qualitative or quantitative research that we are going to do, right? And what kind of data we are going to use, maybe primary data or secondary data, everything we will decide and keep it in research design, because the research design is the blueprint of research. So if everything is ready with our notebook, what we will do is all the plan is ready, just we will go with this plan. That is what is research design. So after designing the budget, what we are doing is we are determining the research design. Next, determine sampling method and sampling size. How we are going to pick the respondents, the method of sampling, and how many respondents that we are going to do, the sampling size. However, we are going to discuss all these things in depth later also. Selecting appropriate data analysis tools. For analyzing the data, what are the different tools that we are going to use? Maybe you may use only simple average method, or we may use different tests like t-test, chi-square test, and there are number of techniques are there. So what are the different and we have to choose the appropriate technique, right? Based on the data that we are going to collect, we have to choose the technique of analyzing this data, right? After selecting all these things, we will prepare the research proposal, right? We are going to do and do the research, like we will make the plan and we will organize the field work. We will go and collect the data, and then after collecting the data, we will analyze the data, and we will also report the findings to the concerned people that who are going to be who are going to be benefited with this research, right? So reporting the data is also the final thing, and to whom we are going to report it, who is going to be benefited with this research. So everything we are deciding here, right? So after deciding all these factors, then we will go further. What are the different data collection methods are available? The different techniques of data collection are available. Usually primary data and secondary data. Based on the type of data that we are going to use, there will be the techniques, right? For secondary data, different sources will be available, right? So the different data collection methods are, for secondary data, the data collection method is different sources, secondary data sources, and for primary data, there are different techniques for collecting the data. They are observation, interviews, questionnaire, and schedules. So what are the different sources of secondary data are available if you want to do the marketing research in rural areas? The secondary sources, usually what is the secondary source? Which is already available, which is ready-madely available, maybe in the internet, maybe in the books, maybe in the journals, right? So whatever actually someone else collected the data for their own purpose, and for our research actually we can use that data, then it is called as secondary data. So what are the different sources of secondary data available? Firm's internal source within our organization, right? Like profit and loss statements, inventory levels, whatever the information that we can get from our organization, right? Number two, the second source is incoming staff members, right? Whoever the staff members that came to our organization, sometimes they are the source. Sometimes the government publications, sometimes trade publications, sometimes competitors balance sheets, competitors information also will be, like whatever the information got by the competitors, whatever the information is available with the competitors also sometimes will be useful for us. So that will be the secondary source. Publications of industry associations also, like FICCI, CII, right? What is FICCI? Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry. FICCI, Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industry. It is an association actually which has been working from 1927, right? So there are about more than 250,000 companies which are associated with this FICCI, right? And also like some other publications of industry associations are there, like CII, like Confederation of Indian Industry. This is also an organization working for creating and sustaining environment in India, right? Actually, for development of very good environment in India, they are working for the CIA, and also all India management associations, journals are available, like trade business newspapers are available, like various magazines are available, various financial magazines, financial journals are available, like that number of secondary sources are available, right? IDBI, ICICI, like banks are also, and like non-financial institutions are also, and financial institutions are also. There are a number of things actually from where we can get the data of rural consumers or rural respondents, and we can get the information about the rural people from these secondary sources. And there are other secondary sources also, like industry, commerce, and trade associations, as we have discussed. NGOs, non-government organizations are there, right? And Rural Innovations Network is there in Chennai. RAS is there in Andhra Pradesh. CARE is there in New Delhi. Government agencies are there, like NCAER and Reserve Bank of India, Ministry for Rural Development, Mandal Revenue Offices are there, Panchayats are there, even Gram Panchayats offices are there, which you can get the data from them. Like, and educational institutions are there. Institutions like NIRD is there, right? National Institute of Rural Development, and also Panchayat Raj. So like NIRD, which is there in Madhya Pradesh and even Telangana also, and also Nirma is an institution in Gujarat. And there are some media organizations, various media organizations are there, like Economic Times, the Hindu, and various newspapers are there. Worldwide organizations are there, World Bank, IMF is there, International Monetary Fund, right? And IFAD is there, and FAO is there, ILO is there, like Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, ILO is there, International Labour Organization, right? There are a number of organizations from the village organizations, like from the village level organizations like Gram Panchayats and even level, and up to international level like International Monetary Fund, right? Food and Agriculture Organization, like there are a number of international organizations also. So from all these things we can get the information. So if we are getting the information from these sources, then it is the secondary data. And also there are a number of other sources like census of data. We can get about the population details from census of data, right? Various demographic we can get from that. And like NCAER is there, NSSO is there, National Sample Survey Organization, District Rural Development Authority, DRDA is there, Integrated Child Development Scheme organization is there, ICDS. There are a number of sources actually where we can get the secondary data from, right? And if you want to do the data with the primary, if you want to do the research with the primary data, then actually what are the different methods are available. What is primary data? First, we are actually collecting the data by ourselves, for ourselves is the primary data. For our own research purpose, we are collecting the data from the respondents. Ideally, observations can be made in closed conditions when it is observations method. There, as we have discussed, there are a number of methods like observation method, interview method, questionnaire method, and schedule method, right? The first method we are discussing here is observation method. The observation method, ideally, the observations can be made in closed conditions like auditorium, laboratories, to get the real motivation that making people buy or reject a product. Within a shopping mall also, for example, we will arrange one camera and we will observe actually what are the different products they are checking and which product they are buying. If they are checking any product, what they are checking only the packaging, or they are also checking some other descriptions also. So it's kind of buying behavior we can observe by this observation method. The data we can get by this observation method, right? Why the people are preferring a brand or why the people are rejecting a brand, we can get such information by this observation method. Here what we are using is the cameras or other signal gathering devices can be used, right? One example what we can take for this is Big Boss, right? What we are doing is we are observing the behaviors of various people who are various celebrities here, whoever are there in Big Boss. So that is also we can consider it as observation method. In the observation method there are different types: structured and unstructured interviews. Structured interviews means everything is predetermined, right? Whom we are going to observe, what are the things that we are going to observe, what is the way that we are going to observe, everything is predetermined, right? And unstructured means nothing is planned, but we observe something. We just put some cameras there over there and we will find something. That is unstructured observation method also, right? Unstructured observation, it should be there. Correct it. Participant and non-participant observation. So the observer may include there. The observer may also be the one of the participants, or without the, for example, in Big Boss, the Big Boss is not participating there, is not one of the participants, so it is like non-participant observation. If we are observing 10 people, a group of 10 people, and I will be one of them also, then it is participant observation. Controlled and uncontrolled observation. Controlled observation means we will try to control the respondents. We will try to tell them like you have to go through this way. Big Boss is a controlled one, right? They'll give some tasks and they will observe them. It is controlled. Uncontrolled means we will not tell them anything. Right? We will not try to make them to do something. Whatever they are doing, we will just observe. That is uncontrolled. So like that, there are different observation methods also. So whatever the way, but what are the advantages and disadvantages of observation method? Advantage, subjective bias is eliminated because we are not actually making them, we are not asking them. Whatever they are doing, we are just observing. So there is no bias. If you ask something, they may say lie. They may lie for that. So here there is no chance because we are just observing. So the subjective bias is eliminated, not affected by future intentions. What will happen is, if a manager is asking the subordinate, what do you think about the organization? Right? What he has to do is to think about the future intention, and he may say like, no sir, this is very good organization because especially you are there as a manager, so definitely it will be good. Such kind of things, right? So in this observation method, we are not asking anything, we are not directly involving there, so generally it is not affected by future intentions, and natural behavior can be observed here, right? Because we are just observing through cameras or some other signal devices. What are the limitations? Expensive. This method is expensive because to observe we have to make a number of arrangements for this, and observing a person for more than few days, it is not that much easy. We have to spend a lot of money for that, and information provided is limited. If you ask something, whatever the information you can ask, but they want themselves to open it up, and we want to know from them, it will be like a little bit difficult, right? Information provided is limited. Unforeseen factors may interfere. You have not expected that something will happen there, but something may happen, because what we are trying to observe is how do they behave themselves without any control. So sometimes they may not come there. If they come there also, like they may not buy the products at the time, and they may not check it, and sometimes they may check and sometimes they may not check, so which will be difficult for the observer, right? So the unforeseen factors may interfere. That is the limitation here. Next is personal interview method. In this method, the observer with the team meet the number of users personally and ask the questions as per determined questionnaire, and they can get the first hand information from the respondents. What we are doing here, directly we are asking them the questions, whatever the questions, like what do you feel about the organization, what kind of product do you like, why do you like that product only, everything we are asking. That is the personal interview method. The information collected is then used to extrapolate for the entire customer group to get the real answers. That information we are trying to generalize it, right? And these surveys are time consuming and expensive, but more accurate. These questionnaire sometimes for this interview we may use questionnaire methods also, right? So however, separately we are going to discuss about this questionnaire method. So for now, personal interview method, there are different types: direct and indirect personal interviews. So you may directly ask the questions, or sometimes you may indirectly ask the questions. Instead of directly asking what do you prefer, why you are not preferring our brand, we may ask like, why do you prefer some others brand. So that is indirect question, indirect interview. Structured and unstructured, as we have discussed in the earlier model also, right? Structured interview is like every question is predetermined. You will ask the same questions in the same sequence. Unstructured means you will go in informal way. Nothing is like everything is not predetermined. Focused interview, you will focus on only the objective related specific questions only will be asked. Clinical interview, like we'll use some laboratory equipment along with the questions, like how they are responding to our questions. So whatever the method of personal interview, what are the advantages and disadvantages? Advantages are we can get more information because we can ask any number of questions and the same answer we can obtain, and samples can be controlled here, right? Samples means the respondents, we can control them. So please can you stay for 10 more minutes because we will have 10 more questions, so that we can just control them. In the observation method it is not possible. They may come and they may go at any time. They may just enter and exit because we are not controlling there. But here we are asking the questions personally so that we can control. And greater flexibility, if anything is you think like it is irrelevant, you may change the question. Greater flexibility is there. Avoid misrepresenting, right? So because if the respondent is not clear about any question also, you may actually clarify like what you are trying to get exactly, so that he may give the accurate answer also. That is why misrepresentation can be avoided. Disadvantages or limitations. What are the limitations with this personal interview method? It is expensive again, because going to every respondent personally, right? So we need a number of accumulators, and we need more money to conduct this research. The possibility of bias is there, because when we are asking personal questions, for example, the respondent may not be willing to answer everything true, right? Because he may have some bias, right? If you are asking about feminism, the male he may not answer without bias. Time consuming, of course. Reaching to all the respondents personally is not going to happen within a night, right? So it takes a lot of time, and a lot of skills are required, because going to do the personal interview is skilled task, right? So because dealing with the people, different kinds of people, is definitely a little bit difficult. So training is required, so skilled people are required. So that is the limitation here. Next method is questionnaire method. A questionnaire is sent to the respondents, whoever we are expecting to view or understand and reply in return. So we are sending a questionnaire. The questionnaire can be sent through email. Sometimes we may send the questionnaire through web forms, or Twitter, or Facebook, or maybe some other forms like WhatsApp, or whatever the way, right? We are sending the questionnaire, they'll fill it, and they'll reply it. So they'll reply to the questions, to the whatever questions we mentioned in the questionnaire. So what are the advantages of this one? Free from bias, because we are not personally asking them, so they may not feel biased. So if we are not asking personal details like name or address, so they may give the exact answer, so no need of bias. Adequate time, because we are not asking them to particularly ask particularly respond at a particular time, right? We are not telling them like in a specific time only I will come so that you should answer. We are just sending them at their free time, convenient time they will send. That is what one more advantage also, convenience to the respondents, and it is reliable, right? We can rely on this information because they are giving us the right information, because there is no bias. And disadvantage is low return on investment. Actually it is expensive also, right? And investment will be high and returns will be low. And control over the questions is one limitation, because we will not have control over the questions. Once the message, the email is sent, questions were already sent to the respondent, so we cannot control them, we cannot change them at the time of answering by the respondents. And that is why it is inflexible also, right? If any question the customer feels like it is irrelevant, he doesn't want to answer, we cannot change it at the same time. It is inflexible, right? It is not flexible. It is time taking to reach all the customers, and they have to respond and send it to us at their convenient time. So it may not happen within a short period of time also. It is time taking. And one more actually method is also there, like schedule. We will ask the customers for their time, convenient time, when they can answer the questions or when they can give us the responses, and we'll go to them in the given time and we'll ask them. That is called as schedule. Like that, there are different types of primary data collection methods, and there are different secondary data sources that we have discussed today. And we also discussed about what is marketing research, what are the objectives, and what are the limitations. So we'll meet in the next class. Thank you.